If the NFL season ended today, the New England Patriots would not have a first-round bye, and that has incited a bit of panic in Patriots Nation.
Now the Patriots find themselves in a must-win situation when they take on the Houston Texans on Sunday. We'll be covering that and much more around the NFL coming up on the NESN Football Update.
Welcome into the NESN Football Update. My name is Michaela Vernava alongside Ashley Allen, and the Patriots are officially on a losing streak after being shocked by the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. This is the first time the Pats have suffered back-to-back losses since 2012. And next up, they face the tall task of taking on Houston's defense.
That's right, Michaela. You know, the Houston Texans weren't really much of a concern for the Patriots earlier on in the season when they were doing nothing but winning. But now with the Patriots' battered offensive line and the unstoppable J.J. Watt, this game is looking a little bit tougher to win. Let's check in with NESN.com's Doug Kyed to preview the matchup.
First key for the Patriots against the Texans is to at least try to contain J.J. Watt. Watt leads the NFL with 13.5 sacks this season, leads the NFL in total pressures with 68, and he really lines up all over that Texans defense. The defense come out in a 3-4 base with Watt as that defensive end, but when they get into nickel in pass rushing situations, Watt can really either play on the end or a defensive tackle. So the Patriots, their entire offensive line really has to study Watt this week and concentrate on him on Sunday. I would expect to see a ton of double teams against Watt. I don't think there's any one offensive lineman on the Patriots roster or tight end who can handle Watt in a one-on-one situation. My second key for the Patriots against the Texans is to at least try to limit DeAndre Hopkins. Bill Belichick said today when I asked him about Hopkins, he said that he's always open because of his impressive catch radius. Hopkins is not the fastest receiver, nor is he the biggest receiver, but he can make those spectacular one-handed grabs. And Belichick basically said that the Patriots have accepted that he'll grab at least one highlight reel catch against the Patriots. The key is to stop it from happening multiple times. I'd expect Malcolm Butler to take on Hopkins, probably with some safety help over the top to at least try to limit those big plays. Texans don't really have any great options there as their number 2 and 3 receivers with Nate Washington and Cecil Shorts. So I think that a combination of Logan Ryan, Patrick Chung, possibly Justin Coleman coming back, those guys should be good enough to handle those other receivers in one-on-one situations. The final key for the Patriots against the Texans is to get their run defense back on track. It certainly helps going against the Texans' running offense that has really struggled since Arian Foster went out for the season with an injury. They've mixed in Alfred Blue, Chris Polk, a number of different running backs, and they haven't been able to get much going there on the ground. Patriots also should have Dante Hightower back this week, which should really help. Since the Texans' running offense isn't very good, since the Patriots' run defense has been good with Hightower in the lineup, that will really allow the Patriots to focus in on that passing game, take away Hopkins, and really limit that Texans' offense as a whole.
If you don't live in New England, you hate the Patriots. That's just how it is, not only for NFL fans, but also for NFL coaches. Yet how many Bill Belichick proteges have learned the trick of the trade here in New England and have gone on to other teams to implement Bill Belichick's system? The answer is a lot. The roots of Bill Belichick's coaching tree span far and wide across the NFL, and unfortunately for Bill, Houston's head coach Bill O'Brien is a budding disciple who has the chance to blossom if he's able to hand the Patriots their third loss of the season. This year's team currently sits in second place in the AFC South at 6-6, ahead of Sunday's game against his former New England team, and you know what? He and the Texans actually have a chance to win. A victory against the Pats would certainly cement O'Brien as the most successful Bill Belichick protege, but then again, who was he competing with really? Nick Saban, who worked under Belichick as the Browns' defensive coordinator from 1991 to 1994, eventually found success at the college level, but his brief stint as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins was pretty terrible. Now, Jim Schwartz wasn't technically a coach for Belichick, but he did report directly to him as a personal scout. Since leaving Bill's side, Schwartz's career in the NFL has been, let's just say, nothing to write home about, and is now currently out of a job. Former Pats defensive coordinator Romeo Crennel seems to have finally found his place with Bill O'Brien and the Houston Texans, but it took him a while after he left the Patriots in 2004. He had 2 stints as an NFL head coach. The first was with the Browns from 2005 to 2008, and the second was with the Kansas City Chiefs for the end of the 2011 season. But not everyone is a Bill Belichick, and Crennel found that one out the hard way, ending his head coaching career with a disgusting 28-55 record. Up next is Eric Mangini. Mangini was the team's defensive back coach from 2000 to 2004 and was the Pats' defensive coordinator in 2005 before he became the Jets' head coach in 2006. In 2007, he went completely anti-Patriots and was the coach who tipped off the NFL about Spygate. That was before going 4-12 and getting fired after the 2008 season. Now, Josh McDaniels also realized that leading a team is much harder than it looks after he ditched the Patriots in 2009 to coach the Broncos. In the end, he decided the Patriots way might be the only way and returned to New England in 2012 as the team's offensive coordinator.
It's time now for your Week 14 Power Rankings. We're here with Mike Cole. Mike, who is rising in the ranks this week?
This week, I like the Buffalo Bills. I like what they've done the last couple of weeks. I especially like the Bills are getting good quarterback play out of Tyrod Taylor. It's been kind of a weird anti-Rex Ryan kind of season where the defense has struggled at times, but they've gotten pretty consistent quarterback play. Taylor hasn't turned the ball over on the road, which is going to be big this week against Philadelphia. And the rest of the way, the Bills have a pretty favorable schedule, relatively speaking. They got 3 NFC East games on the way in, so teams have been able to take advantage of most of those matchups. So I like the Bills where they are right now and where they could be going.
On the flip side, who's sliding in the rankings?
Right now, it's the Minnesota Vikings. I think this is a team that a lot of people loved a few weeks ago, and then they had to start playing some teams that are, halfway decent. We saw them lose to Green Bay at home by 2 touchdowns. And then we saw this past week them get just absolutely rolled by the Seattle Seahawks. And you're starting to see some issues, too, maybe inside that locker room, where Adrian Peterson said last week that they are out-coached. He had a chance to back off those statements and kind of stuck with them, probably because he had 8 carries for 18 yards last week. But when that team falls behind, they have issues. Teddy Bridgewater not quite there in terms of a guy who can really take over a game. So, some issues there for that team right now.
I'm guessing the Patriots must have slipped a little after back-to-back losses. How far have they fallen?
Yeah, they've only fallen a couple spots. I think they're still in the top 5 of my power rankings because I still think at the end of the day, assuming they get healthy, they're going to be all right. But that's a pretty big assumption at this point, and I think we see that if they don't get healthy, they're going to be in trouble down the stretch because this team is just a totally different team without guys like Gronkowski and Edelman. It kind of makes Tom Brady look like a human being.
And those Panthers hanging tough at number 1 still?
Yeah, for now. I don't think that, they look for real, and I don't think they're going to be giving up that spot anytime soon.
Thanks, Mike. For the full analysis on the Power Rankings, head over to NESN.com.
All right, it is time now for our fantasy mailbag. I am joined with NESN.com's fantasy expert, Keely Flanagan. All right, Keely, first up, we have Nabbin Pat on Facebook. Interesting name, but I like it. All right, and he is wondering if he should start Russell Wilson or Blake Bortles. What do you think?
That is a great question, considering it's 2 pretty consistently good quarterbacks playing against 2 very bad teams. Blake Bortles is playing against the Indianapolis Colts, their defense is basically Swiss cheese, and Russell Wilson is playing against the Baltimore Ravens, who basically their entire team is hurt. I would actually start Russell Wilson over Blake Bortles. Russell Wilson is actually red hot right now. His past 3 games, he's thrown for over 3 touchdowns, all 3 games, and he hasn't thrown an interception. So I would actually go for Russell Wilson.
All right, great advice as always. Next up, we have Jason on Facebook, who is wondering if he should start Jeremy Langford or CJ Anderson.
I love Jeremy Langford. I love Michigan State. Go Sparty, playing in the college football playoff. But in this case, I would actually just go with CJ Anderson. The Broncos running game has been so much better now that Brock Osweiler is the quarterback over Peyton Manning. I think CJ Anderson is definitely the safer pick. Although neither of these options are pretty ideal, I would look at the waiver wire to see if there's anyone else you can pick up. But if your only options are Jeremy Langford and CJ Anderson, go with CJ Anderson.
All right, thanks, Keely.
This NFL season has been best characterized by mediocrity, with the exception of just a few of your any given Sunday upsets. And at the bottom of this deep pool of averageness lies the NFC East and the AFC South. Given the current standings and level of play, these divisions are making it look not only possible, but probable that we could have at least 1, if not 2, sub-500 teams hosting playoff games this year. Today's Colts are a far cry from the team that was expected to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender this year, but still the AFC South is Indy's for the taking. After a horrendous 3-5 start to the season, they've managed to get back in the race and are now 6-6 and neck and neck with the Houston Texans, who also climbed out of a similar hole. This week, Colts tight end Dwayne Allen said, quote, "Are we going to fold it up? Or are we going to dig down and go out there and do what we need to do to get in the playoffs?" And that, Indianapolis, is the question. The fact that the 3-9 Tennessee Titans still have a shot to win the division is a true testament to just how bad it really is. Now, as for the atrocity that is the NFC East, it almost seems like no one even wants to win this division. Each of its 4 teams has led the division at one point this season, and now all 4 teams are within 1 game of first place. Unless either the Giants, Redskins, or Eagles win out, 2015 will be the first time since the NFC East was born in 1970 that it will have a division winner with a losing record. Imagine a division ending in a 4-way tie with each team at 6-10. Well, that is actually a possibility in the NFC East. And should it come to fruition, there is a scenario in which the tiebreaker would leave the Dallas Cowboys with the NFC East title, despite what's been a horrendous season without Tony Romo. And 6-10 would be the worst record of any playoff team in NFL history. But theoretically, a sub-500 team still has as good a chance as any to advance in the postseason. In the past 5 years, 3 teams have won their division without a winning record, and all 3 went on to win in the first round of the playoffs.
Hey, I'm Khatchaturian here to give you my weekly picks. I really hope you took the Seahawks over the Vikings last week. That was my upset of the week. But I also did take the Raiders over the Chiefs, and that did not turn out so well. But let's see if I can do better this week. For Week 14, I like the Bills over the Eagles. The spread's even in this one, but I think the Bills have a huge advantage at quarterback this week over Philadelphia with Tyrod Taylor. Very underrated quarterback this year, 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he ain't dinking and dunking around either. He has 8 yards per attempt, which is 5th in the league. There's a reason why Buffalo's in the top 10 in terms of yards per play. Plus, which Philadelphia Eagles team are we going to see? The one that beat the Pats or the one that got crushed by the Lions on Thanksgiving? The way Sam Bradford's been playing, I think we're going to see the latter. For my upset of the week, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Cincinnati Bengals in a huge AFC North showdown. The Steelers' schedule has been brutal this year, and it's not getting any easier. I think the difference of this game will be in the ground game. The Pittsburgh Steelers are averaging nearly 5 yards per rush attempt this year, which is #1 in the NFL. And the last time these two teams played, Pittsburgh only rushed the ball 19 times in that game, and they lost to the Bengals. I think that's going to change this week, and I think that strong running attack is going to open up the game for Big Ben. Now let's send it over to Michaela, who's with Jackson, for his pick of the week.
It's time for Jackson's Week 14 predictions. He's going to be picking the game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. This green cookie is going to be for the Green Bay Packers, this one for the Dallas Cowboys. Whichever one he eats first is the winner. Jackson, you ready to pick? Are you ready to pick? Who's going to win the game? Dallas Cowboys.
Michaela, this guy, he never gets old.
Well, we do save the best for last. But on that note, that's all we got for you this week. But we will be right back for the NESN Football Update next week.
I'm Ashley Allen, Michaela Vernava. Thanks for watching.